The bank didn't send me a debt collector. They didn't send a man in a dark suit to knock on my door with a clipboard and a stern face. No, they were much smarter than that. They sent me a shimmering gold card, nestled inside a velvet box, like a crown meant for royalty. At 23, I felt like a VIP for the first time in my life. I remember the day it arrived vividly. I was sitting in my cramped, windowless apartment, staring at a bowl of instant noodles for the third time that week, and suddenly, there it was. A sleek piece of plastic that promised me a different life. That $5,000 limit didn't feel like a debt or a burden. It felt like a reward for finally arriving in the world. They call it credit, but the Latin root is credere, to trust. I was naive enough to think they trusted my potential. I thought they saw the sharp suits I wanted to buy and the massive ambition burning in my chest. I was wrong. They didn't trust me to be wealthy. They trusted that I would never find the exit once the lights went out. I started playing their game without ever reading the terms of surrender, and it began with the removal of the pain of paying. The system has mastered the art of turning hard-earned cash into digital pixels, sleek, frictionless, and utterly weightless. They've removed the visceral sting of parting with your money. I remember standing in line at a high-end grocery store, holding a bag of overpriced organic coffee I didn't even need, just to feel like I belonged. I felt the cold, heavy plastic between my fingers and swiped it without even glancing at the screen. There was no counting of bills, no feeling the texture of the paper leave my hand, no physical evidence of my life's energy being drained. Just a soft beep and a smile from the cashier. It was the magic of credit, the ability to consume my future before I had even lived it. But here is the hidden profit layer they hide behind those shimmering rewards. The minimum payment. It isn't a suggestion or a helpful tip. It is an anchor designed to keep you at the bottom of the ocean. I had a $5,000 balance at 22% interest, a predatory weight disguised as lifestyle flexibility. Every month, like clockwork, the bank would send a polite, cheerful notification to my phone. Just pay $150 this month. It sounded like mercy. It felt like they were letting me keep my head above water while I figured things out. But in reality, it was a slow-motion execution. I remember the 3 a.m. ceiling stairs, my mind racing as I calculated the math in my head. If I only paid that merciful $150, I wasn't actually paying down a balance. I was just buying another 30 days of survival in their cage. The math was a death sentence. At that rate, it would take me 22 years to clear that $5,000 debt. I was trading 22 years of my finite biological life for one single afternoon of mindless shopping. My $5,000 debt had a hidden $13,000 price tag on my soul. I used to wonder where that $8,000 in pure, unadulterated interest went. Now I know the dark secret of the middleman. That money flows directly into the pockets of people like Pete, the guy at my office we all used to mock. Pete, who wears the same 2 pairs of faded pants and brings his lunch in a stained, scratched Tupperware every single day. Pete isn't smarter than me, but he has a shield I lacked: a cash emergency fund. The bank is nothing more than a cold-blooded middleman. They rent safety from the survivors like Pete at a measly 0.4%, and then turn around and sell the performers like me back our own freedom at 22%. They don't use their own money to build their empires. They use one person's security to trap another person's life. They use the patience of the few to exploit the impulsiveness of the many. Slowly, I became the ultimate performer. I looked successful on the outside. My suits were tailored to perfection, my shoes were shined to a mirror finish, and I always made sure the latest phone was sitting face up on the table during every meeting. But inside, I lived in a state of quiet, suffocating terror. Every morning I woke up with a ghost sitting on my chest, whispering into my ear, "You owe us today." I'd be in the middle of a luxury dinner with friends, laughing at a joke, and suddenly my heart would sink into my stomach because I'd remember the interest accruing on the very meal we were eating. I filtered every dream, every ambition through one single desperate question. If I quit this job, can I still pay for my leash? I stayed in a gray cubicle that felt more like a coffin every day because I was terrified of a bank app notification. A credit card isn't a safety net. It's a psychological algorithm designed to turn you into a voluntary slave. They don't want you to go bankrupt. That's a loss for them. No, they want you to stay alive just enough to keep the machine breathing. They want you to be the middle-class success story that is actually just one missed paycheck away from a total, devastating collapse. They turned money into a game of Monopoly, where they own the board. And in their casino, the house always wins. The gold cards are handed out like medals to the bravest soldiers in a war of consumption. Most people never see the cage until the bars have already cooled and hardened around them. They spend their entire lives protecting their credit score, thinking it's their reputation or their honor, never realizing it's just the measurement of the length of their chain. And by the time most people realize the crown they were so proud of was actually a collar, it's already too late.